chief futurist at Futurist.com, researcher, keynote speaker, and author of Facing Our Futures, Nikolas Badminton, joining us on Canada Now. And Nick, we discussed big news out of Apple that began the week.
We've been waiting for this news. Some people have been waiting for this news for over a decade. You know, there's been a lot of people working on augmented reality headsets and virtual reality headsets. And we know just through rumor that Apple's been working on something for a very, very long period of time. A couple of years ago, they came out with their augmented reality kit, AR kit, which is developing those experiences just through the cameras on their phones and whatever. And that was already proving to be very popular. But it was finally time. And we knew that this was coming mostly because a lot of people that wrote in the virtual and augmented reality space, the journalists were invited to this presentation, and they launched the Apple Vision Pro. And what's different about this is that it looks like a virtual reality headset. It kind of works that way, but actually operates in augmented reality. That means that it overlays data into the world so that is useful. They've partnered with companies like Unity, which is obviously a 3D gaming and VFX engine. I think there's going to be a lot more announcements of who their partnerships are going to be with. They're partnering with Disney. It's kind of like this headset that you look through. So it's like looking through glasses. You can still see people in the room if they walk up to you. The game changer is that it feels at the resolution of virtual reality, but it's augmented reality. So they basically got 23 million pixels with resolution higher than 4K in each eye. So whilst it's got a price tag at about $34.99 US, which is huge and very expensive, obviously in Canada.
So $3,500
US dollars, yeah.
US.
And it's not coming out until the beginning of the year in 2024. So this is firing warning shots across the industry. You know, the amount of frothing and fear that's happening right now in places like Meta, Microsoft, Google is palpable.
Yeah.
People I know in the industry have been telling me. But imagine if you could literally carry around a 100-inch high-resolution entertainment system in your bag. You're flying. This is like my life. You're flying somewhere. You're in a hotel somewhere. You're in your basement. You want to upgrade everything, but you don't want to go through the rigmarole. All of that's going to happen, and that's just the beginning. You know, that was just their pitch. You know, sure, you've got the app system or whatever. I could potentially put this on right now and have 15 screens in front of me. I think it's a game changer because they spent years mastering the craft of what it should and shouldn't do. You don't walk out on the streets and try and use this externally. This is something that is used in the office, in the home, in the factory, potentially. You will have a platform to develop applications. You will be able to see things really clearly and in higher resolution than any other platform. And ultimately, this fits into the Apple ecosystem that exists already. But it's going to literally lead us to a point where new forms of media will come out from people trying to push the limits of this tech. And this is why people like Meta with their Oculus headsets and the HoloLens with Microsoft, it's failing miserably right now, and a bunch of non-starters that were maybe going to happen in Google and a bunch of copycats across China. It just hasn't got there. You know, Apple's going to hit its $3 trillion market cap.
Wow.
In the next probably quarter.
Yeah.
Maybe even sooner. So it's kind of, Apple's come in as the big powerful tech player that really is going to own this space.
Okay, so the days of, let's say, a family of four having a shared experience and sitting on the couch in the living room watching the same show kind of sounds 50s style. I'm not sure people still do that anyway, or 80s style.
Right.
But picture a family of four all watching a movie together.
Yeah.
On the sofa. Is that soon going to be replaced by four people sitting on the sofa, wearing headsets, having individual experiences?
That's not the use case that they're going for. The use case that they're going for is the power user, whether that's the person at home on their own in the basement. Sure, you could have 2 or 3 people. That's not the market you're going for. No one's going to spend $15,000-$20,000 to fit their family out with this. They're just going to have a big TV.
Well, I was just assuming it's going to get cheaper at some point.
Yeah, but it's not going to get that much cheaper.
Okay.
The lenses alone are making up probably over 50 to 60% of the cost of the entire device, right? Yeah. And lens technology is incredibly difficult to make cheaper. Eventually, sure, but we're talking it might go down to $2,500 in the next 3-4 years. You know,
all right.
So you know, this isn't about family time. This is about productivity of power users.
Okay, all right. So Tim Cook is Apple's CEO, and under his watch, Apple has become the most valuable company in the world. But he hasn't had a product like the iPhone or the iPad like Steve Jobs has had that he is so tied to. Is this the product that Tim Cook is going to be tied to?
Let's not think about legacy in that way, right? It's like Steve Jobs was iconic. He literally saved Apple from the jaws of death. He rolled in all of the technology from his company Next. He literally worked with people like Johnny Ive. It was a time when, you know, in the 90s, you could revolutionize technology industries in completely different ways. Net new products could come in. We're kind of in a game of inches now in the world.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
so it's about more cameras, higher resolution, bigger screens, better definition, better content, better platforms. It's not the same world. So is this going to be Tim Cook's legacy? Is going to be he runs a great company and he runs it really well. Everyone needs to stop with this narrative about, you know, this is an iPhone moment, this is his legacy. It's not.
Well, I brought it up only that an iPhone, more so an iPhone than an iPad, but iPhone and iPad, seemingly everyone has one. So sure. I was wondering if this would have been the equivalent in terms of common usage.
That's not what they're going for.
Right. To your earlier point. So is this the greatest thing that could have happened to the VR AR industry?
I don't think that this can be talked about in the same sentence as pure virtual reality plays. I think when you're thinking about gaming, I don't think they're necessarily going to go after gaming in the same way as, say, HTC or Meta necessarily does. So I think they're going to be safe in those aspects. Sure, I think people are going to be working on games. It's going to be fun. For everyone else that's been trying to build augmented reality products, they've literally been sat in the corner and told to do like 5,000 lines of "I must try harder." But the difference is Apple's got deep pockets,
right? And
they've got the relationships in the places that are doing the most advanced research in optics and hardware and software.
You know, usually,
so they're going to be absolutely dominant in this space in the next 20 years.
Usually we talk about companies rushing stuff out to get it out there, and then we have it and we go, well, this doesn't work right, or this is how, there's still kinks. We got to work out kinks. And then, you know, they'll put out the next evolution of it, or somebody else comes out with something that's similar but better. And then I'll go back and I'll ask you, well, why did they put it out in the first place if this thing wasn't ready? Is this something that they took their time with? They made sure that before they were putting this out, before this is coming in 2024, as you talked about, that this is going to be ready.
Apple's always been the second mover. So Apple's never been the one, you know, they've tried it before and it's not gone very well. Mm-hmm. Apple is always the product. Apple is the company that watches bunches of people like burn cash, screw up, make PR blunders, get heavily criticized. They sit back, you know, strategically they're very savvy, and they just watch the world turn itself into knots. And they work out what all the knots are. They hire the best talent. They work it all out, and they take a different view from everyone else, and they make it ultimately very practical and superb and beautiful and well considered. Sure, they're not perfect, but they just come in and they're like, you know, we're just going to take market share. And at the beginning, it might not seem a lot. When the iPhone first came out, they didn't sell that much. I think 6 million phones or something in the first 12 to 18 months. And they just build momentum. People know it's a better product. People see the product. They want the product. This is gonna be standard on first class airlines like Emirates. Everyone's gonna be sat in their pods with these on. It's gonna become ultra high net worth individuals calling card in terms of personal entertainment alone. Wow. And then it's going to be sort of the middle upper class, and then it's going to be, the 1%. Apple just needs the 1% of wealthiest people in the world to buy this, and they're good.
Right. So what about those with specific health conditions? Not that they might not even be considered right now, like warning labels coming with this thing. This isn't necessarily something that everybody in theory could use.
I mean, warning labels come with smartphones and whatever, right? Okay. So there's a lot of eye conditions or whatever you have to be very wary of.
Yeah.
A lot of that's been considered. A lot of it has been considered. Neurologically, there's been tons of research. A lot of this has been worked in. The difference with this is that you look through the glasses. Mm-hmm. They're not always on. You could wear these all day and they'll be either on or off, and when you need them and when you don't need them. Not that people necessarily will do that, but that's the difference. You're not going to be just like plugged into the matrix,
right?
Jittering as things happen to you as you're sat in your chair at home, right?
So you could shut it off while you're wearing it.
Yeah.
This sounds like it's going to be the next big thing. Leave it to Apple to do that. Chief Futurist at Futurist.com. Researcher, keynote speaker, author of Facing Our Futures. Nikolas Badminton, always appreciate it, man. Thank you.
I've just got one question, Jeff.
What's that?
What is the Matrix?
Thank you, Nick.
See ya.